Nigeria. I make you welcome to another great episode of Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Right here, we give you a daily dose of information, hot topics, and of course, striking conversation that will make your day. My name is Henry Igwebike, and we kick off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios Barrister Evans Ufeli, Barrister, Law Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so very much, Barrister.
Good morning, thank you.
Beautiful. So let's kickstart today with the first daily on our desk, and this is coming from... Yes, let's start from the Guardian newspaper for today. The big story here: hope for Nigeria. Troubled fiscal outlook as oil prices head to $80 a barrel. And also we have other interesting stories that made the front page here. Sanwo-Olu to meet APC stakeholders ahead of local government polls, and equally Atiku decry rising insecurity as Tinubu and Northern Governors condemn a killing. I love to believe that is the killing that happened in Mangu, a local government area of Plateau State. But let's take a look at that particular matter. We also have other interesting stories here. Lamido differs with Inyam over Tinubu's role in June 12 annulment. But let's take a look at this story. This Lamido issue is becoming headline right now because he is unearthing lots of things that Nigerians didn't know before now. According to him, he said that President Bola Tinubu rejoiced over the annulment of the June 12th. The mother herself organized a protest in Abuja to say that they were in line with what IBB had done, right? And that he is really speechless to see a President Bola Tinubu who is acting like he was a a democracy, why he wasn't.
I mean, that information, we need to investigate it proper, because could he have rejoiced and still went on exile?
He said he only went on exile when Sani Abacha came in. But during the days of Shonikon, that he was really excited that that mandate was taken away from Moshood Abiola.
Well, that is a story that is hidden within story, because I never knew that if it is true. Because what I understood or understand in the struggle was that Tinubu had to go on exile because of the military threats that followed the annulment of the June 12th. And because they were protesting for days, they were in long procession for days, and there were a lot of advocacy against, that decision, that even President Babangida at that time had to make haste, before he wound up his administration at that time. So the opposition was much. But if he's saying that Tinubu rejoiced and the mother also rejoiced over that, well, for me, I think perhaps if we can have further evidence to that effect. Yeah, because
he actually said that if Nigerians think he is lying, they should go ask Jerry Ghana and notable people who are still very much alive. So it means that what he is saying has some little or a bit of truth in it.
I'm not saying it's false. I'm not saying it's false, but if you look at all those who constituted Nadeco, which was after the event, you will notice that Tinubu was in the forefront. So the question I'm just asking is, could he have joined in that constitution of the Nadeco and other civil society group against the military if he was actually rejoicing over that event? So because this is political times, a lot of persons have different version of the story of what happened. It's possible he's privy to the true intent of Tinubu and the mother and all that. It's possible, you understand? But there's a tendency that from Tinubu's antecedents, during and after the annulment, I cannot say, though I was very young then, but I followed keenly what was going on, okay, and read the newspapers at that time, okay, I don't have a snippet of the fact that, yes, that he rejoiced over it and the rest of that. I don't have that. There are people who may want to say because he was a senator under the military regime, under that era, that yes, it's possible what he's saying now is true, but I don't think in my own mind or minds, I need perhaps someone who was much more grown at that time and who was much more in tune with political happenings may give us a dissenting view to what I'm saying, just like what this man is doing. Because all I know is that Tinubu was actually against the military at the time and every decision they took thereafter.
Well, let's just hope, because this is unfolding, and no one from the presidency has come up to really dispute any of those allegations. But let's just hope something good might come out of that, because that's a serious one.
It's a serious allegation.
Yes.
And I'm wondering why there's no counter expression to that effect. Is this silence an admission?
And especially with the June 12th, just recently celebrated that Tinubu didn't make it a big deal.
Yeah.
So if you connect the dots, people are beginning to speculate that it could be possible that this man really wasn't interested in the June 12th thing.
He didn't make it a big deal. But Buhari was even much more interested in the thing than Tinubu himself, whose kinsman was actually thrown out and eventually died with a wife in so mysterious situation.
All right, so let's take a look at other matters. Still with the Guardian newspaper, Atiku decry rising insecurity as Tinubu and Northern Governors condemn killing. As I said before in my opening submission, it was the killing that happened in Plateau State. About 11 people were been said to have died as a result of that. They were traveling for a festival, a wedding, I guess. They were trying to locate where they were going to and all that, and the mob came upon them. How do you think we can really solve this issue? Because this is not the Nigeria that everyone would love to see.
Yes, see, insecurity begets insecurity. Now, those mob who came against them were actually on self-defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it is not reported that they were killed by insurgents. Was that the report?
Yeah, they died as a result. They died as a result of the mob, not insurgents. Now,
Yeah,
the community came upon them because they saw Ahmadu Bello University and felt, okay, this is an opportunity for us.
Yes. So it is same insecurity that's begetting this. Many people may have given it different interpretations. Some may interpret as spies, enemies coming to spy on them or whatsoever to get information. Before, most communities will tell you that it's when they get strangers like this come around to make inquiries that the enemies come. Okay, in some communities in southern Kaduna, they reported that it's when the army comes to their villages to ransack them, take away anything, every weapon and all that. That's when they know that the Fulani herdsmen are coming or the herdsmen are coming. You understand? So that allegation is lingering. The conspiracy theories within insecurity is creating more problems. That is why you don't allow insecurity to fester for too long. When it festers for too long, everybody becomes a suspect, especially when the fester and the root causes, remote and immediate causes are unknown. So whoever is in the wrong place at the wrong time might just become a feed. Okay, might just be thrown into the same violence. Okay, because these communities, they are very sensitive. You know, little thing, they are on the defense. You don't mind them. You don't blame them too, because over time they've gotten considerable experience on how attacks are made, the patterns. And you, an innocent man who falls into the pattern, or who goes to make an inquiry unknown to you that people come there to make inquiry, they are bad people and all that. So you just fall into the violent hands of these people, and it's a problem. That is why we must exterminate this thing completely. We're just talking about the Benue killing, over 200 people. Now we have another one in Mangu,
yes, in Mangu,
local government area, in Plateau State. So this insecurity in the land is one that we must do something about. We can't say this enough, that the federal government should use its power under the law to take care of insecurity. That is what it should be. This has shown that it appears the federal government cannot do the job. And anything that the federal government is unable to do, which other institution is bigger than the federal government in Nigeria that will take care of it? Is it individual, is it vigilante, or what are you going to do? So this powerlessness, we should do away with it and address insecurity wholesomely.
All right, so while we talk about that, Barrister, there's a new sheriff in town in ECOWAS, Mada of Sierra Leone has taken over as the chairman of ECOWAS. Funnily, when you go through the story, at the very bottom of the story, you hear that it is, though it's not like a president who takes over the chairmanship the next year takes over, is a rotational thing. Yes, but but in the report it was stated that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was replaced because they felt he wasn't competent enough to carry the organization, even if, of course, just like we know, it's the right time has come for him to hand over the baton, to someone else. But do you agree with that statement that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 2 years as the chairman of the ECOWAS didn't do anything?
It didn't do much. That's the truth. But just like other successive previous chairman of the ECOWAS, they never do really anything. I mean, from back to, do you know that ECOWAS was formed many years after the European Union? ECOWAS was formed in 1975. Yeah. The European Union was when? Was it not 2001?
Yeah.
But look at the stride of the European Union. Look at what they've done over time. Can you compare it with what ECOWAS 1975 to date? So it tells you that whether they accuse him of incompetence or he didn't have direction, he didn't lead ECOWAS well, and under him, how many states or how many countries had left the ECOWAS? Yeah. Under him, those states went further and established as the Sahel states. Under him, those states were threatening ECOWAS. It has never been this bad. Yeah. You understand? The attack he was promulgating against Niger, he lost it within just how many months. He was weakened because the other one, Burkina Faso and the rest of them, team up and won ECOWAS. And ECOWAS couldn't say anything, This was an ECOWAS that was from far back, posteriors, had 15 states, countries, they were doing well, had a lot of treaties, and all that. All of a sudden, what really killed and weakened ECOWAS was the inability of member states to profess democracy and, entrench the rule of law that they preach. Oh. Because, yes, apart from trade, intertrade, and all that, one of the cardinal principles of the ECOWAS is that every state must maintain and sustain democratic system of government. You understand? Then you now have some member states, you have a leader that has been there for years. The ethics of democracy and the tenets of democracy were thrown, and what you had is almost like a monarchy.
But the group itself, in its entirety, cannot unilaterally compel a country to do otherwise. For instance, a country that decides that it wants to have a leader for as long as they want to.
Yeah,
it is not in the place of the ECOWAS to say stop.
Yeah. The group cannot do that, but the group can actually influence them to deliver the dividends of democracy. Why they lost legitimacy is not because of the sit-tightism of the leaders. It's because of the sit-tightism of the leaders and because of their inability to deliver the dividend of democracy. In all those countries in Africa, which of them today, apart from these two countries, one in South Africa and the other one. Which how many countries have really delivered the dividend of democracy? Botswana and Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Apart from those two countries, what education is free in Botswana up to university that they even pay you to attend university. Okay, which other country in Africa have delivered such? So, and these countries we just mentioned are not even in ECOWAS, and just stating them by the side. Okay, they are not in West Africa, and they don't subscribe to the ideas and ethos of the ECOWAS. So ECOWAS is which is a subset of the African Union. Okay, the African Union has since failed the parent body in its own endeavors, and then you now have a subset of it failing at the same time. Now they have a new leader. Let's see what the new leader is what he's going to do, what his programs are, how he's going to curb or go and recreate ECOWAS so that those countries that left will come back, or how. Or more countries shouldn't leave and all of that.
Well, that's the assignment he has been given, actually. He equally promised that he would do all that he can to ensure that the bloc, becomes what it should be and what it was created to be. But let's take a look at other matters. We have lots of interesting stories on the Guardian newspaper. For a minute, if you may, before we go international for a bit, APC silent as PDP dismisses the formation of ADA. APC silent as PDP dismisses formation of ADA. There is a nationwide campaign right now recruiting members into the ADA. And don't you think this should be a cause of worry for the APC?
Both political parties, even the PDP, it should be a cause of worry now because it's a new political party that very known political figures came to form. So, and these guys have followers. How be it that they were part of the problem too? You understand? I would have promoted an organic political party, registration of an organic political party that is people-driven. This one is not people-driven. Really? This one is, it's not people-driven. It just, it was born out of dissent.
Which is always what brings up new political parties.
I agree. Yeah, that because the people have not been able to come up with a political party organically, and even when they do that, there's suspicion. Okay, so this is what breeds political. But in a way, it can also become, if only the leaders allow it to become people-oriented. They should not begin to scheme again. They should not become what they were fighting against. I mean the likes of Amechi, El-Rufai, they should not become what, because if they allow the party to grow organically, people should earn and attain position on merit. Then it will begin to make sense. It will become people-driven. Followers will have a sense of belonging. Okay, but if they start to scheme again, then they now become what they are fighting against. The party will still fail and crash. The APC was formed not up to 4 months, it won general election. Okay? Because the kind of machineries that was put together. If we can put that kind of machinery together, don't be surprised that the ADA can become a rallying point. Yes. In the 2027 election. It can assume the next opposition, since PDP is not serious.
And the Labour Party.
Yeah, they are not serious. So, I mean, it's a fertile ground, you understand, there's one other political party again that's coming up. I mean, I was actually given the job for that one to do the research on registration of political party and all that. So one other political party is coming up that's going to be registered too, not just the ADA. So a lot of political parties are coming, and the people right now, we align in all the political parties and let them compete keenly, and see how far they can go. The ones who have the existing ones they are all the same. There's no difference between the Labour Party, for example, and the APC. If you give the Labour Party the opportunity to win the election with the kind of crisis they have when when they have just one governor. You understand? What will become of them, you will be surprised. You understand? So many of the political parties are also not prepared. They are not prepared, they are not ready to do what will benefit the entire Labour Party is a testament to the fact that even those who profess a third force, those who profess change, you understand, in the Labour Party, when small money came into the party, did you see the allegations everywhere? They said this one took social amount of money, this other one took social amount, this one took allegations all over the place. And the crisis they're having today has to do with money. If you look at it, it has to do with money. So you can imagine that kind of political party. Is that the political party that want to lead Nigeria? That cannot manage their resources and cannot manage their affairs. So,
well, I do not know how we can maybe use a magic wand to wipe that away out of the mindset of Nigerians, because right now political parties are looking like spiritual homes or spiritual centers where a man, creates a center for himself and makes it about him and not about what it represents.
Yes.
And that is what political parties in Nigeria are looking like. But let's take a look at other matters, international now. Israel-Iran tension shake a market. And if you take a look at this story, of course, the attack on Iran sites, by the United States, Buster bunkers and all of that. But of course, Iran said that it will retaliate. And America would feel the pain. Already, the parliamentarians in Iran are already have passed a bill to close up the Strait of Hormuz, which is a very important route for lots of economic around the world. How bad do you think? Do you think this would give America reason to maybe wobble?
It will touch the entire world. That's the truth. Even the disruptions will get to Africa because there's this interconnectedness in terms of global trade, which everyone is a partaker. That is a part that belongs to humanity. That common cause, that common cause that has to do with global participation in economic activity. It will hit and it will touch Africa. It will touch the Americans, it will touch the entire world. Because one of the things I discovered about Israel is their lack of restraint may lead to their destruction. Yes, because if you look at it, politically speaking, when Hitler had this attack on them, the whole world condemned it. This is too much. You cannot wipe out a race. They have a global place on the earth, and then you focus on them to take them completely out of the face of the earth. It's not, they were displaced from their ancestral home, and all that. And for a long time, the entire world spoke for them. You understand? That even though they hung around their ancestral home, they were not in block, they were not together, they were just split here and there, but they hung around that area until 1945 when the entire space, the world came on on the issue and made them a place to replace where they used to, just by where they were before then. And from there they gained credibility via providence through humanitarian services, religious services, tourists, because they have biblical sites. So they're able to gain economic rejuvenation. And now we know that, Hezbollah started this thing about hitting and all that. Hamas had their own, so many had their own wranglings with Israel. But what Israel is currently doing, for me is shocking. It's shocking because, You cannot begin to take the laws into your hand just like that.
Do you think they are the one taking the laws into their hands, or it's the United States that is making them? Because they are more like proxies.
Yeah. But the United States is playing a very dangerous role. You understand? And that role is to feed them with dangerous weapons. If you keep supplying dangerous weapons to somebody, dangerous weapons is supposed to be used. Yeah. And because they also know, America also know that Israel lack the restraint. They just want to attack, hit, and all that. I support Israel to the extent that they should guard their territory from invasion.
Okay.
I support it. That's why I was in support of the Hezbollah attack because those ones came to invade. Those ones were there to, attack before Israel turned it back to them and made sure they were crushed and pushed afar. But in the current case, I mean, did the Iranians, did they really come out there, apart from the scheme they had with all these terrorist group within the Middle East, because they sponsor terrorist group within the Middle East. Even Qatar do that. They do that a lot. Most of the attack you see from Al-Qaeda to these new ones and all that are actually propelled from sovereign authorities. They are funded by sovereign authorities. You understand? But going outrightly to hit a sovereign nation in that manner, it calls for circumspection.
Do you think Iran has right to a nuclear weapon?
It's not. Everyone is bullying the world. Everyone. It's not a question of rights, because nobody actually have the right. Some countries just have it. Now, Americans believe that they are the only ones that have the right. That is why they go and inspect other countries. We saw how Saddam Hussein was taken out and all that. How NATO was used against a Libyan president. We've seen how America operates and all that. Americans believe that if they have this weapon, they will not use it on humanity.
And also feel that other countries might use this?
Yes, they feel that if other countries have it, especially the Arab nations, they have a proclivity to unleash it on humanity.
So possibly Kim Jong-un has might not use it of North Korea.
Well, they also don't trust him because they believe that he has that mentality.
Because he has reached 100%. He has it right now. He has stockpile.
No, he has it.
Of that.
He has. America is aware. That's why America is playing ball with him. They are no longer. It's no longer strife now. It's just they are trying to pet and manage the situation. Because America will never unleash theirs. That's their belief. Okay. But they believe that if these countries have it, they may one day open up this whole thing, and it will be devastating. Okay, so that's why I said nobody really have the right to have it. It threatens humanity. Anything that threatens humanity, America is against it. Okay, just like terrorism, keeping nuclear weapons is also an act of terror. Anything that threatens human existence is an act of terror, whether it is human beings in a group or it is a device. Anything that can bring people, because this nuclear weapon, if they release one, all you need to do is just to breathe in, and the person is gone. Yeah. You understand? So is that what we should keep in countries around the world? Because
Saudi Arabia has said that if Iran is allowed to have theirs, they should equally be allowed to have their own too. And it's really not a good situation.
It's not a good situation because the day you have a president that is a lunatic or that is schizophrenic, it can go and open up those nuclear codes. Yeah. You understand? That is why it was even part of the problem, part of the campaign mantra of the Democrat. that the Republicans should not be allowed to have access to nuclear codes, or they don't
Donald
have a
Trump should not be allowed.
Yeah, president that is that is seen as a mad person should not be allowed to have, because so the security is just there. So you cannot have those kind of things because of the temptation to want to use it against humanity. It's an act of terror. So that's what I mean. The world have all come to that agreement. You understand that by promoting peace through United Nations, it is clear on terms. You understand? But most countries are violating this, what you should keep and what you should not keep, for the sake of peace and safety.
In fact, that was even the reason why South Africa got to about 65% of its uranium process. But of course, they were dissuaded from going onwards to 100%, with the promise that the United States will protect them, and so many other countries too. Though countries like Pakistan, India have theirs, and all that. But we would just hope that there's a global peace, because when there's a global peace, it's a boomeranging effect that keeps everyone safe and we're all happy. And just to let you know, Ambassador will be here to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return. Tinubu backs 11 states, a push to end herders' clashes, allocate land for livestock reforms. That in a bit. It's still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.